Hey guys, how's it going? Just want to do a recap of last night's game. Tried to do it last night, it was just way too loud down there. Like, you literally can't even hear yourself think down there anymore. So, I didn't want to do that, plus I was uber pissed about the loss last night. And bear with me, because I'm sick. So, a couple people reached out, said, where's the recap? So, I'm going to do it right now. So, again, bear with me if you can't hear me, but man, what a heartbreaking loss last night. Really, really tough one to take. I know it's only game 5 games into the season, but still, it was gut-wrenching to lose that. Especially with a game you expected to walk away with winning. Up 8 with a minute, 39 left. And the outcome is we don't score a single point in that little bit of time. You could say a lot that happened. You could have said we had 2 timeouts remaining. What was Brett Brown doing? Why didn't he call out, try to advance the ball? And in that time, Embiid didn't touch the ball once while he was in the post. Isn't that what we want to do, is feed Embiid? I don't understand why we didn't do that, especially in that final couple sets at the end of the game. This team doesn't have an identity. It really does. It doesn't. And that's what it needs at the end of the game. We don't have a go-to player to really shut out games for us. We're a young team. That's gonna happen with a young team, though. We're gonna have these growing pains. We need to gel together. It is a heartbreaking loss, and it just frustrates me. But you have to take the positive with it. You have to look at it and say, we're competing with some of the best teams in the NBA. So that's a really good thing to see. But it's just going to take some time. It's going to take time as a young team to learn how to shut out these games. That's why we brought the vets in. JJ missed a couple of wide open shots there, so that really stunk. Jared Bayless didn't play good at all last night. That last possession where he kind of just threw up a shot, I know it really wasn't his fault because he had 3 seconds left, but we got to get off something better than that. And I don't know why we just didn't drive it inside or try to get it and beat in those final seconds. We just took a bunch of outside shots, which I thought was, not very, very good coaching. And Ben, he's got to learn to be a little bit more aggressive when he's on the offensive end. I definitely want to see more aggression out of him because there's a couple times where he could have took the shot and he didn't. He was too passive and decided to pass it off, which I don't want to see. I want to see, players like Embiid and Simmons take over a game and have the ball in his hands in the final seconds. Just a gut-wrenching loss again. God, just to see that buzzer beater. And my friend that I go down there with, I even told him, I'm like, I guarantee you we lose on a buzzer beater. And, look what happened. Eric Gordon killed us last night. He actually beat us in free throw attempts. That really needs to change. To only have attempted 10 free throws in the entire game, huge issue. We really need to get down there and get Embiid the ball. We have to really drive to the 10 and get some fouls. To only have 10 shots at the free throw line, it's a disgrace. So that was another thing I really noticed during the game. But huge loss for us. I hated to see that. Starting out 1-4, expected to come out of the gate a little better. We've been in games, though. I don't want to be completely negative about the whole thing. Just a gut-wrencher to see. How'd you guys feel? I really thought we could have walked away with that if there was better issues. And it killed me, though, with 2 timeouts. This is where Brett's going to have to learn, too. You should have called something up. Called a timeout, drew something up. We could have got it at half court, advanced the ball, instead of just trying to bleed the 24-second clock. I agree. The last 6 possessions, Joel should have had the ball, but he didn't touch it. They didn't even try to feed it to him. He could have owned them in the post all game. Now, I'm okay with last night. I've had a little bit of an issue with him really trying to take face-up jumpers and be behind the three-point line. It's fine. If his shot's dropping, that's all right. But I want to see him down there more on the block, too, because he could have dominated down there. And I feel like if he would have got there, he would have got to the free throw line. And if you guys remember when me and Adrian did the preview show, that's what we were talking about. He can really, really take over a game down there, get him to the free throw line. And I think the officiating was atrocious last night, especially with that goaltend. That was a freaking joke. Absolute joke. I don't like to be the one to really call out the refs and blame it on the refs, but there was a very, very couple questionable calls last night against us. And the big one was that goaltending, which I think was complete BS. Yeah, our perimeter defense has been terrible, James, for the past couple years. And has been in the beginning of the season. Something yet we haven't cleaned up from game in and game out. You know, and it was a gut-wrenching loss. I hate to see it, but we're competing with some of the best teams in the NBA, especially in the West. So, but we need an identity. That's why I thought we brought these vets in to really help take over the game. It's a shame JJ missed those two wide open shots. Covington, as we know, had a pretty decent game. He looked a little shaky down there at the end of the game. He was getting a lot of fouls called against him. He was getting beat. Yeah, I Covington, I don't like I can understand if you're open, you want to keep shooting and shooting as a shooter, but he had a lot of questionable shots where he just kept jacking up threes. Like, sometimes you just got to put the ball on the floor and go to the hole. Yeah, Dario didn't play enough. That's something I noticed. I don't know if it's because his confidence is shook. I don't know why he wasn't out there more. And where is Ja on this offense? The guy slimmed down for the team. He looked pretty decent in preseason. Let's see what he's got. I want to see more of, Jaleel out there. He probably could have helped us in a game last night. Another low post presence that could have aided us in the win last night. So I've seen him play one game, and that was against Toronto when Joel didn't play. He should be at least in this rotation. Give some minutes to him. Like these Justin Anderson, it shouldn't be taking minutes away from Jahlil Okafor. I'm sorry. He was a top 3 pick. He slimmed down. I want to see what he's got. He looked pretty good, in preseason. Yeah, the whole experiment last year with him and Joel didn't work out, but let's get him some minutes. I don't want to see Amir Johnson and Justin Anderson taking minutes away from him. But, that's why I'm not the coach, right? But Brett Brown's going to have to learn. I want to see Ben Simmons more aggressive. And, we're not getting the calls. Obviously, a lot of the calls go in the superstars' way. That's what I've noticed in the past 2 home games I've been to. The opposition is getting the superstar treatment, which is really annoying, and we're not getting the same calls. How do you feel about JJ? I feel as though he's still early in the season. He has been a disappointment to me. I've liked, actually, how JJ's played. He's averaging the past 2 home games, and I've been to, he's averaged over 20 points a game. So I think he's been a nice addition. I'm happy with him. He's not going to be a lockdown defender, which is fine, but at least he gives you defensive effort. So I'm happy with JJ the way he's playing. It's unfortunate that he missed a couple open shots, but that's what happens when you're a shooter. You live and die by your shot, and sometimes it goes down, sometimes it doesn't. It's what you got to live with. But Ben, a couple times when he drove to the hole and beat his defender, he easily could have took the shot, but he just was too passive, and he decided just to pass the ball off. I want to see him take over a game and be dominant and take over the offense like he has. He's been playing very well. I don't have much to say about Ben Simmons. I don't have much to critique about him, but I feel in last night's game he definitely could have put us up with some aggression on the offensive end, and he just doesn't seem to want to be aggressive just yet. I'm hoping that changes at some point. I agree. I want to see Ben slam it too. And when they were running the gun, he had a couple open dunks, which was nice. But that's something I noticed when I was talking about with my friend in the NBA. Nobody really dunks it anymore. They all go with the easy layups. I agree, James. He needs to be more aggressive, and I hope that changes. He has trained with LeBron James. We've seen LeBron take over games. I remember early in his career, he was kind of the same way, so maybe he can help him out with that. Maybe the coaches get into his head and say, listen, you're the point. You need to take over some games, score. Because if it's not Ben out there creating for somebody else and JoJo's not out there, we don't have anybody that can really create their own shot. So that's something I want to see more of. Without Ben creating, just if you're not going to create for other people, just take over the game. Nobody can stop you. You're big, you're athletic, you can see the court really well, and he didn't have a great game last night, but coming off that triple-double against the Pistons, it's just very, very demoralizing, and it just took the took this wind out of their sails, and I hope this doesn't carry over to the next game on Friday. I hope this doesn't demoralize them, which it can with a young team, but that's why we brought these vets in to really pick these young kids up and show them the ropes. I hope we do. I hope it's a different story in Houston. Hey, we stuck it out with one of the best offensive teams in the league. So to be up on them like we were, it's just growing pains we're going to have with a young team. It's going to be frustrating at times, but we're there. We're not getting blown out by 40 like we were a few years ago. So a lot of positives to take away from this. But, it just sucks when you're up 8 and you end up losing and you have all those possessions and you're not doing anything. You're bleeding the clock. You're not getting the ball into your best player on the court being JoJo, and just not having a play drawn up. It's just one guy beating his defender, kicking it out, and taking a quick shot. I just thought it was bad coaching too. Yeah, CP3 wasn't playing, so imagine if he did play, how that would have really turned out. I don't know if he really would have made that much of a difference, but they're a very deep team, a very talented team. I think they're the third best team in the West. For us to compete with that, and just the defense on the last shot too, it's not like he was wide open. It was a contested shot, so it's just bad luck on our part. Yeah, it does suck when you're young, but it's growing pains. Guys, that's what we're gonna have to look at it. But yeah. So, yeah, you guys, I know it must have been a rough loss for you too. Yeah, they denied the ball to JoJo. He still has to clean up some of his stuff, his stamina. I don't want to see him out there trying to do ISO ball like he's a guard or a wing. Just get down on the block. I was happy with him doing some face-up jumpers. He was draining them last night, so it was good to see. But, yeah, tough loss, guys. You guys have any comments, concerns? I know it's demoralizing. Don't get down on the Sixers. It's still very, very early, guys. Still very, very early. A lot of positive things to take out of this. It's going to happen with this team. It's going to happen throughout the season. We want it to happen now as opposed to later on in December and January. So let's get the growing pains out of the way now. Let's learn from our mistakes and move on to the next game. It's cliche, but you got to take it one game at a time. All right, guys. Kyle Gaffner with the Bitter Birds. Good talking to you, and go Sixers. Peace.